Hello, and welcome to Real Actors, Real Answers, the video podcast where you are the star. Today, I am really excited about introducing to you Katie Otten. Katie Otten is, first and foremost, in my favorable opinion, a voiceover artist for anime. It's fascinating. And she is also a model. She is also a stage and film actress. So, Katie, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm good. I'm so excited to be here.
Excited to meet you. I'm just gonna throw it out there. How did this all start with you? It starts out different with everybody.
Yeah, gosh, what a journey. So I grew up loving video games. My brother's 10 years older, and I would watch him play through games that had these really rich, beautiful stories like Final Fantasy and games like that. And I remember thinking as a child, like, how can I do that for a living? I want to just go on magic adventures with my friends. And then in fifth grade, I was in my first play on stage, and I remember standing on stage and thinking, oh, this is how I do that. This is how I can like play pretend forever. And so my poor parents, I decided in fifth grade that I was going to be an actor and nothing was going to stop me.
You were in fourth
Yeah.
grade.
Fifth grade. Oh yeah, fifth grade.
What was their reaction?
I think as a kid they were like, okay, that's cute, but like we'll see 10 years from now. And then years went by and it never changed. And they were like, oh shoot. Yeah.
When you appreciate a person, you love them. You don't
Mhm.
necessarily all the time have to understand them.
Exactly. But they've been so supportive. I mean, everyone in my life has been like, hey, if that's what you want to do, it's going to be tough, but you go for it. And I've been so grateful for that.
Good. What was your first exposure to an audience?
um, I would say even way earlier, um I was the first one to volunteer in school when they were like, okay, we're going to read this out loud. Like, who wants to read this paragraph? I was so excited. Every chance I could have to be in the spotlight or read something. I don't know. It just made me so excited. And I had no fear and like no stage fright. That actually developed later, interestingly. But yeah, when I was young, I was like, any chance I can be on stage or be in front of people. And it started in the classroom and kind of went from there.
Did you do any high school plays?
Yeah, a little bit. I did like this. We did these kind of silly like murder mysteries and all that, and I always did those. I could never get in the big musicals because I had to choose between choir and orchestra, and I played the viola back then, and I was like, no, I'm not giving that up. So, but yeah, I definitely did all the stage plays, and I had so much fun.
What about film?
Yeah, so film and voiceover both kind of developed later for me. I was totally stage focused for a long time. And I did some teaching. I got my bachelor's in theater education. So I was like using theater to teach younger people. And then I was working on my master's degree in theater, and they encouraged me. They're like, hey, for your thesis, you should figure out something else you can use your acting skills for other than stage. Like, there's got to be more you can do with it. And it had never really occurred to me. I was like, oh, yeah, there is a whole world of things. And so film and voiceover kind of developed from that. I was like, I should try these other things that I had never even considered. And I just fell in love with them too.
What has been your favorite role?
Oh my
Pick one,
gosh.
if you can pick one.
Yeah. On stage, there's one role that I played twice and I will play again any chance that I can. There's a show called She Kills Monsters, and it's all about Dungeons and Dragons, and you get to like see the real people and see them in the fantasy world, and it's so fun. And there's this fairy who is like sweet and adorable, and she's like singing to the animals, and then they walk into her forest and she doesn't want them there, and she like beats them all up. And there's this epic like fight scene. It's so cool. And I want to do it again.
So you were the princess. You
I
were
was
the
the fairy. Yeah, it was
Yes, you
so
were.
fun.
That kind of sounds almost like a Shakespeare play.
Yeah, it
Midsummer
does have a
Night's
similar feel. Yes. Oh, I love Shakespeare so much. I haven't done it in a long time. Have you done some Shakespeare?
I have. I have. I loved it.
That's so cool.
Before I, one of my friends, we were in a 19th century play, and it was a farce. It was a
Oh,
lot of fun. And
yeah.
my friend said, "Why don't you? There's a audition for Shakespeare." And I go, "Shakespeare." I wasn't. I was like raw, I don't
Uh-huh.
care about Shakespeare. That's what, but okay, okay, leave me alone and I'll go. Okay, great. We'll all be in it together. Yeah, whatever. So I went
Oh,
there, and I'm telling you, the audition almost was like taking a class because
yeah.
maybe this is where I got to be a coach. Her heart, the director, her name was Nancy. She almost wanted you to get the part. Oh, try
Wow.
it this way, try it that way. She had
Hmm.
that, I don't know, that aura, that charisma where,
Yeah.
okay, I don't have to be so nervous about this. I'm going
Aw.
to do it. And
Mhm.
so we were practically lovingly pushed into it. And it
Yeah.
never left me.
Wow.
It's a beautiful language is what it is.
Yeah. That's
You
so
know?
cool. What a
Yeah.
great way to get into it.
Thank you.
Okay.
And we can go all over. I'll let you lead. I'm in the taxi, but I'm in the back seat. You're driving. So you do anime, and I've learned
Mhm.
to really appreciate that alongside American animation. But
Yeah.
how in the world? I mean, you live in Texas.
Mhm.
How in the world did you get connection with Japan? With how? How did it all start?
Yeah, well, it's something I had wanted to do forever. I'm, a video game and anime nerd for sure. And it was sort of always a pipe dream. I was like, I'd love to do that, but I don't even know how one would go about it. I had been doing voiceover for a long time by now, but um I decided it was just time to like really go after it. And everything I had heard was that, hey, you got to move where the work is, whether it's Texas or California or Atlanta or whatever. And so I just packed up my car and I moved to Texas. I didn't know a single person, but I was like, I'm going to make this happen. And it's been such a dream. I spent a good 7 months like taking classes, making connections, doing all the networking, trying to make a living. And then I got into Crunchyroll and it's been such a wild ride and I've been so thankful. But yeah, every day is a new adventure and I'm always learning. Some weeks I don't go in at all. Some weeks I go in a couple times. It really is like an ebb and flow, just like any acting work. But yeah, I love it.
Do you like your voice?
I think nobody does when they start out. The first thing everyone thinks when they hear their voice is like, that's what I sound like, because it's different than what we hear in our own heads. And the first time you hear yourself, it's so confusing because you're like, this whole time I thought I sounded a certain way. But you have to learn to love it or at least appreciate what it does. I think every voice actor needs to be able to get over that because you're going to be analyzing your own voice and giving yourself critiques and so now I love it. I can't do some things that other people can do, but I can do things other people can't. Like everyone's voice is unique and special, and yeah, I love it.
And this is why we need a coach. We
Mm.
cannot see ourselves, film,
Yeah,
stage, and we cannot hear ourselves, really listen
right.
on an objective level when we do voiceovers or when we sing.
Yeah, yeah,
We need someone
absolutely.
else. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, any tips would be extremely helpful for me and for my students and
Yeah.
for everybody. Is there a certain way that you take care of your voice, your vocal
Oh
cords,
gosh.
things that you do to keep it so sing-songy, melodic? It's so beautiful how you speak. Now,
Oh, thank you.
you're welcome. So, what do
Oh.
you do?
It's been a lot of trial and error, but I think theater really prepared me for like, hey, your body's an instrument. You got to take care of it. You've got to keep working it, but not too much. Like it's definitely, you can put too much strain on your voice. Um, so I find a good balance. Like every day I try to do some exercises and I try to do some things that like stretch my voice a little and some auditions, but then I really rest. Like it's so important to have that rest. Um, and definitely staying hydrated. I mean, I know that's obvious, but like it's so easy to forget and it's so important. And like, I try to drink water every chance I can get. And, um, and finding where your voice is comfortable and where it's not. Like there's some voices I've tried to do where I'm like, oh, that gives me like a tickly feeling in my throat. And that's not a good sign. That means something is like rubbing in a way that it shouldn't. Or we're forcing the air in a way that it shouldn't. And so if you have to do that in the booth for an hour, like that's just going to mess up your voice. So admitting like, hey, my voice can do certain things and it can't do certain things and like not pushing it outside of that in an uncomfortable way. Like we always want to be stretching our voice, but being careful not to overextend it too much. And then sometimes stuff just happens. Like I had a sinus infection last week and my voice sounded awful. And it's like, well, people just get sick and that's just part of it. And you gotta take care of yourself. But
That's when you TLC yourself. You don't
yeah,
push. Otherwise, your body's trying to tell you something and you're not listening.
yeah.
Okay, I tried to tell you,
Yep. It's like now you got to rest. You have
Right.
no choice.
It's a type of, you have to love yourself enough because you love what you do. And I can tell
Yeah.
right away that you love what you do.
hmm
You dance.
You know, when I'm in musicals, I certainly do, but it was never I admire people that can do it. It's not my forte. Like I don't have quite the coordination, but if someone teaches me the moves, I can learn them, but I can't like just make things up like some people can. I don't know. It's amazing to me. Do you do any dance?
I'm in the same boat. I love to sing.
Yeah.
I love to act. Dancing, now I can learn.
Yeah, yeah.
Just don't expect me to go ballet on you and fly
Right.
through the air. It's not going to happen. It's
Yeah.
just nothing that I, perhaps before your bone structure has solidified, when you're 8,
Mm,
10, 6, all that, then you have a chance of becoming that dancer more so
yeah.
than later. Okay.
That's a good point.
However,
Yeah.
you know, you accept yourself as you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that, I just saw a post on this. Picture this line, okay? I can't help but coach. Picture
I
this
love
line, okay? And you're sitting on top of the line and you're going like this. And this little measurement right next to you, down below, is called regret.
it.
On the
Mm,
other side, there's this great big finish line. It's really long and it says
yeah.
opportunity.
Mm,
Stop looking, sitting next to your regret because you have no idea where this creative endeavor that you and I do is going to go. It can change
yeah.
in 2 days. It can change in an hour. Hey, I like
Mm-hmm.
you, Katie. Could you do a project for us? We'll pay you.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, you never know.
all of a sudden, which brings me to this question.
Mhm.
Um, how I can ask this again? How did you get into anime specifically?
Yeah. Well, again, I moved here and I really kind of committed to that being like my one goal.
Okay.
And it's like you said, it's all connection. So I like took every class I could to meet the people that worked there. And I reached out to people directly and was like, hi, I live here now. I would love to like grab coffee sometime. And so many people were kind enough to be like, yeah, welcome. Like we know how hard it is to be brand new in a city and just making those connections, showing them that I'm a real human. And I'm more than just a voice actor, I think is so important. I think people forget like that it's okay to just be ourselves. And usually when we do that, that's when we really connect with people. So yeah, I just kind of kept doing that and I kept at it. And once you know the right people, then they can get you the right auditions and that, leads opens more doors. But it's a never going process. I have so many goals,
It is. You make I like to say you make small steps. That's how you walk up a
Yeah.
flight of stairs. You
hmm
can't just, if you stare at the top, you're never going to get there. You've got to
Yeah.
take the steps.
Yeah.
Do you currently have an agent?
I have a couple. I have like a voiceover agent in the Midwest. I have a film agent in the Midwest. And then now I have a new agent in Texas that I just got a couple days ago. Um, but what I've found is that when you're right for a project, you're right for it. And that's awesome. But I try to like keep making these connections because you never know with auditions with especially film, like you have so little control over what they're looking for. And you can submit like crazy. I have what I call the send it and forget it method. Like I'll send in an audition I'm really excited about, and then I'm like, okay, now I can never think about it again because it's just gonna drive me insane. So I love my agents, but I'm always trying to find my own work for sure.
I like
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah.
good. You work hand in hand. You do your job. They know more people than you, more things because
Right.
that's their job, and you
Yeah.
work together. You
Yeah.
can't, hey, I have an agent. Congratulations. Yeah, I'm going to just sit back and relax.
Right. Like, no way, man. You're always
That's the
working.
time where you got to be more disciplined, more
hmm
consistent. You have talent.
hmm
What are you doing with it? Are you practicing every day? How
Yeah.
often do you practice?
Um, I tend to be recording auditions anyway, so I will like fit that time into every day. But then my day job right now is that I'm a game show host. So
I
it's
am
so
so
fun.
jealous. Not really.
Oh man, it's great. It's not like a broadcast show, it's like an experience, a live game show experience. It's really cool. But when I'm doing that, it's basically like a one person show. So I'm like always trying things out and like using my voice. But yeah, it's theater at its finest, but it's good.
You, Katie, wait a minute. You're
Yeah.
a game show host. You get paid for this.
Yeah, it's
You get
so
paid
fun.
for
It's my day
looking
job.
pretty and dressing up and entertaining people and drawing them
Hmm.
into the. And this is in
Yeah.
Texas?
Yep, it's called Great Big Game Show, and they're actually expanding all over the country. They're owned by the Escape Game, which is a big escape room company. So eventually there'll be one everywhere. There's one in the Mall of America. I think that's probably the closest one to you right now. But yeah, it's great.
Wow.
Yeah, they're
I
so
have to
fun.
ask, how did you get an opportunity like that?
Well, okay, when I decided I was moving to Texas, I was like, uh-oh, I gotta find a job to like pay my rent when I get there. That was really scary. And I applied for everything I could. I went on Indeed. And this one popped up. It was like, hey, we want a game show host. And I was like, oh, okay, I could do that. It was perfect for me. So I love it.
And once again, it's called what?
Great Big Game Show.
And it's connected with
Yeah.
escape rooms?
The escape game. Yeah.
Escape game. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, it's so cute.
I've worked with escape rooms before.
Oh, yeah. Aren't they cool? They're their own
Literally
little stories.
dressed up in a, well, it wasn't really dressed up. It was dressed down. I was a zombie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
And it was so much fun running around chasing everybody.
oh
I
my
got really
gosh.
into it. Some
Yeah.
people had to leave the room because they were having palpitations.
It's
And I
scary.
apologized later, you know. It paid
Hmm.
well. It was a lot of fun. I call it my it's I
It's
guess the theater back in
like
the.
immersive theater. Yeah.
Thank you. That's
Hmm.
what I was thinking. Immersive. Totally immersive,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
That's so cool.
But you make me want to move to Texas now.
Yeah. There's a lot going on.
A
But
lot of my friends have moved there. So
yeah. One of my big beliefs though, because when I went to school for acting, the first thing everyone asked me is like, all right, are you going to New York or LA? Like those are your two options in the world. And I was so determined to be like, no, there's got to be more than that though. Like I don't want to work five jobs just to pay rent and then try to audition. And so
no,
you
don't
can
do that.
really make the work, I think, anywhere you go. It's all there. But finding a place that you fit in is really important. Yeah.
Very true. How are the people in Texas? I mean, what part of
Oh,
Texas are you in?
I'm in Dallas. And I've found the people here to be so welcoming and kind and wonderful. A lot of people aren't even from here. A lot of people, like you said, have moved here. But yeah, I really love the city. There's so much to do, and I can pay to live here, so it's great. David, I
That's
have a
great.
question for you, actually. Do
Okay.
you have a sort of dream role or project or a couple
I want
that
to play a cowboy.
really? Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I want it being a Western, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I could play the villain, you know, with the black
Ooh,
hat tradition,
I could see it.
or a you know, a sheriff.
Yeah.
I could really play a sheriff really well, but
Oh,
that's one of my dream roles that I haven't touched yet.
yeah. I'll keep my ears open because I feel like
Oh,
if they're gonna
please,
film them anywhere, it'd be here.
see,
Oh.
audience, this is how it's done. Okay, you meet
Hmm.
someone, and then you talk, and you give them yourself, and they give them, and then
Yeah.
something happens. You know, sparks. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll be looking for you
Yeah.
too. What is your
Thank you.
dream role?
Ooh. I love fantasy in terms of film, and it's so rare that people do it, but like I dream of being in like a big epic fantasy like Game of Thrones style someday. Like the costumes, the stories, I love all of it.
You
That'd be
have the
so
look
fun.
for it.
Thank you. Oh.
You also have a look for Downton Abbey. I know that's over.
Yes.
You can't
Oh.
replace what was her name that just passed away? Maggie Smith.
Oh yeah, no. But that'd be so fun. I actually collect as a model, I collect costumes from different time periods. So I have some like Victorian dresses and stuff already. It's so fun.
How do you collect those? Where do you find them?
Oh my gosh. A lot of like just Facebook Marketplace or like, oh, a lot of towns have some kind of costume shop where they rent out costumes. And usually once a year or so, those places will be getting rid of some of their stock. And whenever I see that happening or a theater is selling costumes, I'll like nab whatever I can. I love that stuff.
So this is in Texas.
Yep.
You're drawing me to Texas. Seriously. Because it's challenging finding a place in New York.
Yeah.
And even California.
Have you visited New York? I've never been.
Oh my, you should go.
I know.
It's like landing on another planet because like
Wow.
Texas, in a different way though.
Yeah.
You could be standing on the corner waiting to cross the street. And there is a German here. And over here is a person that's Japanese, and they're talking, and you have no idea unless you know the language what they're saying. But it's like, this is so cool.
That's amazing. That's how Shanghai was. I heard all these languages that I'm like, this is it's so
You've
beautiful.
been to Shanghai?
I have, yeah.
Why did you do that?
Oh man, I just love traveling, and I had a friend who was teaching in China, and so he was like, well, anyone can come stay with me for a while, and the flights were cheap. So I was like, all right, I'm going. So I just went and like traveled around a little bit. It was so cool.
Okay, I'm going to ask you something.
Yeah.
You have a job. I call it a survival job. That's what they say over in New York. Survival job, pay the rent and things. And it's actually quite glamorous and fun, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So how do you find time? It's a loaded question.
Mm-hmm.
People make excuses all the time, but you're not an excuse maker, I can tell.
Yeah.
How do you find time to travel, to do this, that, and the other thing?
Yeah, it's tough, but I think what it all comes down to is we have to be honest with people and we have to tell them what we need and over communicate. So when I got this job, I was like, hey, I love you guys and I'm going to work my butt off here. But you have to also understand that I have all these other dreams and goals. And like, as long as you're willing to work with that, like when I'm here, I will be an amazing worker. And that's what I try to do. Like I never get jobs without telling them all the goals that I have. So this game show place, like when something pops up at Crunchyroll or when I want to travel somewhere, I'm like, hey, I need this day off. And they're so willing to work with me because they know that it's worth it. But we gotta, like, if I hadn't told them that up front, it could be a really tricky situation. So
yeah, because she wasn't honest with us in the first place.
Right.
Why?
Yeah, that's tricky.
Maybe she doesn't like us as much as she said.
Yeah.
It being upfront of who you are, because you have nothing to be ashamed of where you are.
Yeah.
I don't care what age you're at. I don't care socioeconomic status, whatever.
Right.
If you're playing with people, especially nowadays, high tech, low touch, people will embrace that. Oh, a real human being. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to be your friend. It's so important. Because I tell you what, and in this business already, how young are you?
I'm 35.
35. You look 23.
I know.
Okay. So you have, what was I saying? You have, be upfront, be honest. Okay. Because people, you might not think, oh, they see so many auditions all the time. They're not going to remember me.
Right.
Well, yes, they will. If you make a good impression, they'll remember you. If you made a bad impression or lied in your resume or something, they'll remember you.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Whenever I've been casting for a project, I will know, like, hey, if so-and-so might be an amazing actor, but if I don't want to work with them, if they're not kind or patient or friendly, like, no, I'm not going to work with them. And people remember that stuff for sure.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. Trying to think of other questions. You're this Renaissance woman.
Have you found that being a coach has made you a better performer too?
Yes, more conscientious of myself. Many times I teach, I have students all over the world, and many times, sometimes someone comes to me and they've done more than me. It is possible.
Oh, yeah.
And then your ego tries to, but what about me? Okay, no.
Yeah.
Ego is useless. Throw it away. It breaks like plexiglass. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but okay, what can I learn from you? It's even like today. Katie, what can I learn from you? This is amazing. I've, and you have a website too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What is your website?
Oh, it's just katieotten.com. And from there you can find all my social media and stuff. Yep.
You've got to look this up because I did. And like I said, I'm quite a geek when it comes to anime. It's storytelling. It's expertly done. And the
Yeah.
voices are phenomenal, which brings me to something else. Do you speak Japanese?
I don't. I was learning Korean for a while.
Okay.
But it's tough. I don't know. I know enough Japanese. Like I went to Japan too, and I could, have easy conversations with people, and I could order things and stuff. But I'm certainly not fluent by any means. But I do try to pick up languages wherever I can. But Japanese is tough for sure. I grew up learning Spanish, and now that I'm in Dallas, I'm like, oh, I need to really get back into Spanish because it's such a big community here.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people from Mexico, and
So it just helps.
yeah, it would really help communicate and with jobs. There's actually a lot of jobs here that want bilingual people. So having that ability, no matter what language it is, I think speaking 2 languages is so valuable.
I agree.
Sure. Yeah.
Now I know that with anime, there, and it depends on what you look up. Okay, your choice. But there's ones that have subtitles.
Yes.
And then you have the Korean, Japanese actors come in and they're speaking the language. And then, of course, the English is down below. So you're like listening, you're watching, but, you're looking up and down.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, how do I put this? Please try and read my mind. You speak English. Okay.
Right.
Have you ever, I know what I'm going to say. Have you ever worked with Japanese voiceover actors? Because sometimes, in order to make a translation, you need the American voice and, of course, a Japanese voice. Have you ever intermingled in that and worked side by side?
Wow, that's a good question. Yeah, we call that subs or dubs. Like, is something subtitled or is it dubbed over?
Right.
And I will say, at least at Crunchyroll, we never interact with Japanese voice actors. When we come into the booth, all of the translation is finished, and someone has gone through and figured out exactly how long we have to say something. Like, this should be the right thing, and sometimes we have to adjust it. So kind of how the process works is we get into the booth and there's 2 monitors, and one is our script. So it's my lines are highlighted, and then on the other side is the anime. And what's tough is we have to be reading the script and watch the anime because we need to fit it into what they're saying. And that's the dubbing part of it. So if they're saying a sentence, we have to make sure that it fits, but it isn't too short. Or if we have a reaction, like a gasp or a scream or something, it has to also fit right in there. So it's tough because we're looking at the script, but we're watching the show, and kind of like you said, and we always hear the Japanese first, so we can have that as a reference. Yeah.
So you have 3 different things to do.
Yeah. You're performing, but you're also reading, and because you can't get the script ahead of time. They're very secretive about it. So you can't come in memorized or anything. So it's tough.
Actually, number one, why would you memorize when the script is right there?
Right. Yeah, it's true. Now,
do you need to know something about the character that you're going to portray and the storyline?
Yeah, it definitely helps. If ever I know ahead of time, I go look up the show and the character and all that. But sometimes we don't. Sometimes we're called in and they won't tell us what or for who. And so we get into the booth and they're like, hey, this is the show. They'll give us a little synopsis, maybe a sentence about what it's about. And then your character is the mom of the main character. She's friendly. And that's it. That's all you get. And you just got to jump in.
This is good. I've got to send you, we're friends on Facebook now. I've got to send you this one little, his name is Eckhart. He's an author, he's a speaker. It's fascinating. But he talks about staying in the moment.
Yeah.
It's amazing how brilliant this man is, but he breaks it down into really simple steps,
Yeah. That's lovely.
Now, there's some people out there. Hey, I've heard this. Hey, I want to be a voiceover artist. Excellent. What have you done? Nothing. I just like making voices. I'm being paraphrasing a lot, but
no, it's true.
Let me ask: is the body excuse me? But is the body involved in voiceover?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I think everyone should take improv and theater classes because you talked about staying in the moment. Oh, improv that's what it's all about. Just live in the moment. But yeah, in the booth, I can't move too much because the microphone's here and I can't be like,
Yeah.
yeah, but my body's always involved. Like you've seen, I just like am moving a lot, but not crazy. But for example, I went in for like a zombie character. We were just in the background, like making growling noises. And I was like, because yeah, you can't help. It's almost like you would have to fight to not use your body. And if you're truly living in the moment, it should just happen. And I just find it happens. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love what you said. It makes so much sense. That's what I teach. You have a script, which
Yeah.
is the mind. And
Mhm.
almost instantly, when you figure out what the motivation, the goal, the obstacle, the tactic, what's going on with the character,
Yeah.
your body takes over. And how do you emote? Energy and motion. Emotion is energy and motion. You move in a
Yeah.
certain way. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you don't, you get, like, I think I'll be angry like this. Okay. No,
Mm.
that's not, no, no, no.
Right.
So how has your theater and your film career helped you? And how does, to
Oh,
this
yeah.
day, how does it assist you in your voiceover?
Gosh, yeah. Theater and film helped give me the ability to like kind of picture from the audience's perspective a little. And I feel like that took a lot of years to be like, well, if I were outside myself right now, like what do I look like on stage? Like where's my body in space and like what are people hearing? And I think once I was able to at least sort of do that, once you like watch yourself enough, you get, I think, a good idea of that, and a subjective idea again. And once I did that, I was like, okay, now I can do that for my voice. Like, how am I, even though it's not exact, like ever, the way we sound, but like, am I getting across what I need to? And like, am I telling the story? And how can I do that better? You have to just sort of be critiquing yourself all the time. Maybe that's the way, and living in the moment. I don't know. It's so hard.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit, and be easy on yourself. I loved how you said that. Open-ended questions. Why did I do that? How did I do that? How can I do it better? Not like,
right.
Oh, I did it wrong.
Right.
No, there
Yeah.
is. Otherwise, you just threw yourself right into your left brain.
Yeah, I don't think that it's like there's not right or wrong. It's just, am I telling the story the most effectively right now? Am I drawing the audience in? And actually, that's a question for you, because I found when I was teaching that so many students have trouble getting out of their head and like not planning, or overthinking it. Like, how do you help students that are very thinkers?
I like shock therapy, and I'm not talking about, but it's like this. Okay, I would say, and you have to get used to me when I say this, but what is your BS? No, it's not that. What is your belief system? What do you believe about this character? How do you relate to them? What's the core?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, they went through this circumstance, or they're going through it, and I can relate.
Yeah.
Go like this. Okay? And your hands look alike, right? They're the same. No, they're not.
Whoa.
They're opposing. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't care if you're twins. You're going to find something different about that DNA, that belief.
Yeah.
Okay? And how to get out of your head. You're the servant of the character. You are there to serve them, because if you serve them well, they'll serve you back.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's the other way around and too much thinking, I heard once, don't believe everything you think.
Oh, that's so true.
You think. Will they like me? Will they not? I don't know. No. Do you like yourself? At least healthy,
right.
Healthy way.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a really, a character that was a challenge for you?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. When I started, I had so much trouble not judging my characters, if that makes sense. I would be like, oh my gosh, I would never say that. Like I had trouble swearing. I had trouble doing all these things because I'm like, oh, I can't, like, that's not me. And then I realized, no, of course it's not. But like, how can I put a little bit of myself into this character and understand them a little bit better? And I found like it's made me a more empathetic, kind person. And I think it could help a lot of people. Just like, what is this?
Empathetic and kind.
Yeah.
That's called wisdom at 35.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like you said, it's like, what has this character gone through? Like, what are they battling for? There's no right or wrong. Everyone's just trying their best, and it's hard.
Exactly.
So I had to really kind of get over that when I was young. It was hard. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're brought up a certain way.
Yep.
And certain things may not gel. You know, you definitely don't want to compromise your morals. But
Right.
if it's a swear word or something, ask yourself, why are they doing that?
Yeah.
You know, what emotion, what energy are they feeling? You know, you just touched on a lot of different acting techniques. There's Meisner, there's Stanislavski, there's Strasberg, there's Uta Hagen, there's a few others. But what you just said, it's not your job to judge the character.
Yeah.
Your job, if you so take it, is to emulate that character, reflect off of that character, and make them shine, and they'll make you shine.
Yeah, I love
if it's
that.
the other way around, it probably won't get the part because for the truth, you know.
And you brought up something that has helped me a lot with my own imposter syndrome, and I think could help a lot of people. Is that oh my gosh, like, what do you bring to this character? And it's never going to be the same as someone else. Like, everyone's portrayal is just going to be a little different because of who they are, and that's such a beautiful thing. And so I try to remember all the time, like, maybe I didn't get this role, but like, there will be a character that I am right for, that's just for me. And like that you'll find it, you know, I don't know. It's just so important.
Why did you say it's so beautiful?
It's so beautiful that each of us have a unique thing to bring to a character, and that it's never going to be the same. Someone else playing that character will never be exactly.
It's like Annie, you know, the stage play and the movie. So many people have played Annie. And according to, you know, of course, she's the same age, or generally speaking, but everybody's going to put a little twist on it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's okay. It's okay to be different.
It's important.
Created different, so be different. Don't.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome. That's just a lie.
Yeah, and it's tough for a lot of people.
That's why you have to have support. It sounds to me like you have support from your family, your friends.
Yeah.
You stepped way out of your comfort zone and just move from Wisconsin to Texas.
So I actually moved from Wisconsin to Nebraska, and then I lived in Omaha for about 10 years working in theater. Yeah, and I got my master's there, and then I made the move here. But I found every time I've made a big jump like that, it's been so worth it. It's been me ready to grow and do something new. And some people don't thrive in that environment, but I really do. Like, I need new challenges all the time. So
I like that. You've quickly become my hero.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Because
I still get scared, of course.
I think of Nebraska. I've been through there. Groundhogs, and Flatland and what's there, you know.
Oh yeah.
And then Omaha, I've never been there. They have mountains, and what are the people like?
Well, I will say Omaha's like the only thing in Nebraska. It's just like flat countryside, and then there's Omaha. And I love it. It's such a beautiful city. It's really kind of all its own little oasis. And there's a lot of arts there, and I loved that about it. So I was just kind of ready for the next thing. Yeah, there's a lot of theater and film happening there. Maybe not a lot compared to, you know, bigger cities for sure, but enough that it kept me busy.
I'm going to help you right now, okay? Yeah. The first thing before I say this, are you more involved right now at this junction in your life with voiceovers or other things?
Oh, it's tough. I would say I'm like, voiceover is probably my number one thing right now, but film is very close behind. Theater just takes so much time that it's been hard. I did 2 shows in the last year, and they were so wonderful. But I do consider my day job theater too. So.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Shoot.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really a mix. I really do all.
You are there to entertain.
Yeah.
To break that fourth wall. Now, there is a live audience, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it's only 2 people. Sometimes it's a 1v1. And sometimes it's up to like 14 people. So still a small
I've done that before in a matinee. Hey, that's fine. If there's one person, 7 people, you still have a job to do.
Oh, yeah. And they give you different energy. I love the energy that an audience
They
gets.
do.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
They do.
Are you working on anything right now? Any shows or anything?
Well, I will be in a. I think I told you before. A British
Oh,
intelligence.
yes. That's right. Yeah.
They're in a World War II film. This coming in a couple of weeks.
Oh, I hope it's warmer by then. Oh,
Yeah, I do hope so. It's in Ohio.
Yeah.
I know I can do it. It's just
Mhm.
it gives you butterflies. I don't care how long you've been in this
Yeah.
business. It does.
Especially meeting a lot of new people. It can be scary. Yeah.
That too, and that tests your. It tests out your imposter syndrome.
Yeah. You
Hey,
gotta be ready.
we did it the first time, second time. Where's that nervousness, scared, fear? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
it was an imposter. What is an imposter?
Yeah.
One that's playing a role. They're really not that person. So the whole thing, a syndrome, I get it. But the whole thing about it, it's very revealing. You're playing an imposter. What do you mean? I'm really afraid. No, there's nothing there. It's an
Whoa.
imposter, you know.
Uh-huh. That's a good point.
Oh, this is what I want to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay. Just putting it out there. Okay.
Uh-huh.
You don't know narration comes up for movies or whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have a student in Oklahoma, very talented young lady, and recently she posts about Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a giant film incentive of about $30 million.
Oh, man.
You know, that's going to bring in iron to a magnet to crews and cinematographers and everything else. So keep an eye on things. Tell your agents, hey, listen, I'm a voiceover actor, but I'm also, film and stage. But I could do which brings me to something else. Have you ever done a narrative in a movie? The VO off stage, as they say.
Yeah, I've done voiceover for film. I guess not really narration like in a documentary sort of style.
Okay.
But you know what I have done that I really miss? I only did it for about a year. Is so when people go to the theater, if they are hard of seeing or blind, they actually listen to someone narrating what's happening on stage. Like so and so walks to the door and slams it shut or whatever. Like anything they can't. They need to know who's doing what and like what they look like and what they're doing. And I did that for a while. And audio description, it's called. So there's
audio
all these
description. Okay.
Yeah, and they do it for film too for people that can't see. And I think there's so much to voiceover that we don't even think about. There's all these fields that most people would just never know. It's so cool.
There is. Now that you said that, it just came to me. Remember this, okay? There's a book out there, and she's fantastic. She has a YouTube channel. Her last name is Clark. Can't remember her first name. But her book is There's Money Where Your Mouth Is.
Oh, okay.
Get the updated version because she's had, copies out there. But There's Money Where Your Mouth Is. It is a fantastic book. It's a page turner, if that's your passion, and actually gives you exercises to do.
That's so
and
cool.
Scripts and things, and she explains why and the how and the who and the what and the where and everything. It really will improve your craft.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ooh, I love books.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So listen, KatieOtten.com, right?
Yep.
Okay. If people wanted to contact you, how would they do that? What's the best way for you?
Yeah, I mean, through social media, of course, but but also on my website, I have a contact section where they can fill out a little form and say hi. I love just connecting to people, so feel free to send me your questions or just say hello.
Excellent. Okay.
Thank you.
You stay with me, okay, for a minute. I wanted to thank you from my heart to yours for being on Real Actors, Real Answers. You've educated me a lot. I love your cheeriness and your brightness. And this is what happens when you follow your passion. The doors open up.
Yeah.
If you keep seeking, you'll find.
Life is too short not to, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much. Make sure you contact Katie Otten if you want to know something about voiceovers or acting in general.
Yes.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.